mail.
I saw that. Good
Get
morning.
your car off the street this morning. Got Widener, Phillips.
Good morning. Welcome to
Did your
the
neighbor
Water and Sewer Committee. Today is August what? 13? 15. Present today are Chandra Phillips and Troy Kruger, Councilman Austin Clunt, and Water and Sewer Supervisor Mark Liebrecht. I turn it over to you, Troy.
Well, I'm going to start with pool because it's fresh on my mind. We have one more payroll to come out of pool, and then pool numbers will be. So our pool is it is due for a painting, and we've got some caulking issues, and I've got that guy coming to town today. He's going to be here about. He said he'd try and be here about 9:30 this morning, so he's going to give us an estimate on what it'll cost to paint the pool. But pool's going to have some money left over this year. You were going to purchase a backup
Recirculation pump,
motor.
Yeah.
Or pump and motor.
pump and motor.
And that, last time we bought that, it was like $7,500, so it's probably going to be pretty close to that. So that'll come out of this year's. And hopefully we can get some of that maintenance done, but $40,000 is what he told me over the phone to have the pool painted and recalk the seams and all that good stuff. So that number is not in here.
The very last
Oh,
one.
capital improvements, 45,000, yep. But I think.
He can't do it this year.
He's gonna see if he can get it done this year. It's looking like he's already booked up.
Okay.
The numbers you see on this are only through June 30th. So you don't have any July or August on there.
Okay. Thank you.
What payroll's been running around 6?
I couldn't tell you for sure.
So if there was a $6,000 payroll, we'd have like 33,000.
No, there were 3 in July and 2 in August.
Oh, yeah, July.
All these other, I mean, a lot of these other numbers though, repairs and maintenance, supplies, uniforms, all that stuff is, all that stuff's been paid for, so, utilities we're quite a ways over budget in utilities. I guess we would still have, July and August utilities to come out. I guess we just go down the list. Repairs and maintenance. We got 5,000 in there and we spent 165.81. So I think you can probably bring that down to about 2,000. Supplies, we had a 1,500 or 15,000. I don't know. Did you have that up there like that high because you were going to buy that motor out of that?
Yeah, going by previous years, it was 22, we used at 13,000, almost 14,000 in supplies. 22 was 15.
Fine.
That's why we,
Well, we always have, seems like we've always got surplus in pool. Let's take that down to 10,000.
Okay.
I don't know how you do it, Mark, but every year you come up. The travel schools and conferences, with that one, I would probably leave it like the way it is. Uniforms, we overspent a little bit, but we did not have to take any girls over to Platte this year because they were all returning.
Certified. Yeah,
So they were all certified, so if we get a new batch of girls in, that number could jump up real quickly. Utilities, that'd be a month and a half of pool. We got 2 months to come out of there yet, so that's probably gonna be getting pretty close to 10,000. And then I will get a number on hopefully get a number on the pool today, but it'd be nice if we might be able to, like, pay for half it this fall and pay for the other half next spring or something like that, get it done, or maybe he might even tell us we can go another year. Just do some minor repairs.
my question is, the painting and the caulking, how important is that? I mean, as we're making this decision, it's easy to say, let's cut this, but when you're talking about painting the pool and caulking it, talk to us about the importance of what that does for the pool.
So the caulking is what keeps the water from getting under the pool.
Yep,
You know, that's a big deal.
yep,
I didn't notice it so much in the bottom of the pool, but in the sides of the pool where our overflows are, our over drains, that goes back to our recirculation pit. And then that's how we feed chemical. And so a lot of that caulking, well, we saw it in a couple of places where that's starting to come out. And I wouldn't say that's a huge issue. That's not a real big deal, but I'll get the pool's dry now, it's empty, we've drained it, so that this guy could come and look at it. And he couldn't get here until today.
that's fine. We got a lot of people in town today. So when's the last time that we painted it and caulked it?
It's,
4 years ago or 5 years
I
ago?
don't think they caulked it.
It just,
They just painted it,
Yeah.
right?
Right, this is probably the first time it's been caulked,
Okay,
15 seasons.
in 15 seasons, okay. Well,
That's pretty good, I think.
yeah. Councilman Klein.
I
just-
don't know how, I mean, I guess I have to wait for this guy to say
What it's gonna cost, right?
what it's gonna cost and his opinion, if he does it for a living, does it need done right now, or does it have another year or 5 years left?
the painting, I would say, is more cosmetic. You know, the block's getting really dull. Once you fill it up with water, we don't have a swim team, but we could have ordered some paint and done the black ourselves, just to brighten it up. And we'll see what he says today, but the caulking kind of bothers me because that's, it's in there for a reason. And it's to keep, so you got cement, anytime you got cement joints, you don't want water, you don't want moisture getting in between them, especially with winter coming on. But the pool is completely drained, so, we've always done that. No one's ever told us any different.
These are uncertified as of today.
I guess my recommendation, would be to hear what this guy has to say today. When Rhonda's back, I can get with her and we can get payroll. We can get the payroll figured out and get that taken out. We can probably project the utilities pretty closely.
Payroll's done as of this sheet, and you're over budget on payroll by $115, but there is no more payroll to come out unless you have Catherine coming in and doing some stuff.
It'll be
after
two.
hours. Yeah. So our last payroll that we did, that was the final one for pool.
I think we had a pretty good season this year. The girls did a good job up there this year.
Yeah.
Didn't have too many phone calls.
It was an exciting year.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess that's pool. Like I said, well, when we get to the budget retreat, we won't meet again in this utility before the budget retreat, but I can say with the, let you know what this guy says. He's already told me, he's pretty booked up already for this year. I doubt that it would happen this year. And maybe we can, if he says it's not, if we can get by another year, do a little bit of touch-up painting and fix whatever we need to fix, or have him come and just do the caulking or something like that, and then get on the books for the painting the next year. I don't think the paint looks too bad myself.
No,
The paint's just got some peeling in around some of the crack, some of the saw cuts but that's pretty normal. We have that every year.
said there's some sharp spots there that some of the kids complained about, but,
On the bottom.
yeah.
Well, 12,000 we cut out of a $122,000 budget. So.
What did you cut? I'm sorry.
We took. Well, maybe not. Now that these are.
You took
Did you send me the sheet?
three
I don't
off
have
of
these
your-
numbers on my computer.
You would be getting it Wednesday, because you only ask for it once a week.
I think we cut 8,000, didn't we? Took 3
So I
out,
know you
Yeah.
took 3 out of repairs and maintenance.
5 out of supplies.
Yeah, we cut repairs and maintenance, and then we cut supplies down to 10.
What'd you do with repairs and maintenance? What do you wanna do?
Do you want to take that out of there?
What happened in 21 that we spent 5,900 of the $5,000 budget?
We had two, that year we had one of the features pumps motors that we had to send out to get rewound. And then we also had, in the same summer, we had to do that's the year that we bought that new recirculation pump and motor. So we spent right there alone, we spent like 10 grand just on motors that year, motors and pumps.
This year, we probably have about 1,000 into it, because we had to have our vacuum sent in and gone through. That was $1,000 there for that.
So that bill has not come across then.
Right.
And I know we just received a bill for training for several $100s too.
For what?
Training from Jana,
Oh.
so there's several $100s there.
Yeah, that 2021 was just kind of a fluke year. I think that's the year we replaced the vacuum too. 2021.
Yeah, I think so.
We had vandals that got a hold of the vacuum that year and tried to use it as a basketball.
Okay.
Let's do public works, health. pretty much, we cut this thing already down to, basically nothing. We got to order a barrel of Duet. We're gonna reorder some, Altosoids. We didn't, I guess fuel, you got at 10,000?
No, yours didn't show the shading. So the 10,000 is for a used Ranger.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, you actually don't have anything in the budget for fuel.
Yeah, we just take it out of water.
Looks like it shows 427 gallons used for Public Works Health. Yeah, it's not coming out of here. Must be having it flooded with water.
Yeah, it's going to S3, I think, or W3.
Or streets,
So it's
whatever,
water.
whatever makes you happy.
Yeah, streets works.
What's the Ranger for?
For mister and that we use for spraying the parks, rodeo grounds. We use Tempo that makes it up. Use it on Main Street for the whatever's going on up there. So. Also uses spray lagoons.
The one we have is getting bad shape.
It's getting bad shape. Right now we use that one set up with the snowplow. It's kind of hard on it.
With the what?
With the snowplow during
They
the
said
winter time.
smoke bomb, and I'm like, what are these smoke bombs for?
We have two of the
Gators.
six-wheel gators that they use in the parks, and then we have two John Deere, whatever they call them,
Side by side.
side-by-sides. The one's been in the Parks Department for a long time. The other one was bought with grant money, wasn't it?
Yep.
Through the mosquito program. And we've also bought a pickup with grant money through that program years ago, so. The plan is to submit for, they've kind of changed that program around. It's not really a grant anymore, it's kind of a reimbursement from the state. But what we typically get back in once I turn in our receipts for ordering chemical is the state reimburses us $5,000 pretty much annually. And that's kind of what that is turned into. There still is a grant application that you can fill out, and we would put that in there and submit it to see if we can get anything more than $5,000 out of it. But we've been successful in the past. We've got two pieces of equipment with it, but
Are we gonna get rid of the gator that's in tough shape then?
no. No, we'll run it till it dies. We use them too much. The parks usually sets one up with the Parks Department sets one up with a sprayer to spray. They put in there like their Roundup and things that, so that they don't have to mix it in their other sprayer with their stand-on sprayer spreader, because they run their other chemicals. But they put like ground steril that they do the Bass Pond rocks with, and the roads and the sidewalks and the streets, they use that one just primarily for that sprayer. We don't use that for anything else anymore. We do too much of that ground sterile stuff now. And then the one that's at the water department, that one gets used for a lot of stuff, spraying lagoons, the tempo ball fields.
Ball fields, rodeo grounds. Any special events coming up, or?
Yeah, the barbecue pit row, we spray it before the rodeos and
If the mosquitoes get too bad, we'll go up and down the alleys and with the mister and spray.
and mosquitoes are gonna get bad here coming up in the next couple days. Last night they were out
They
like
were horrible
crazy.
last night.
Really,
I got an email, I
get somebody out this week again.
Just because of the rain.
yeah. I know the state just started reporting the cases are starting to go up with West Nile.
Yeah, I see that.
No, Mark's been pretty good about, pre-ordering, keeping a barrel. That duet is just crazy expensive. It's over $10,000 a barrel now. But I think you were gonna order one more next year, but we have like one full barrel left.
Yeah, 1.5 left.
And we'll probably use up, wet as it is, we'll use that half up for sure.
Yeah.
And I don't think we've received our grant yet.
They awarded them, but the page where you can go find out how much you were awarded isn't working. So I have no idea what the city received.
Yeah.
I haven't seen anything yet.
Yeah, I got the email that it got awarded, but we haven't. So that'll be $5,000 that'll go into that. Got any more on that one?
I guess we'll see when we get closer to the end, but I know most of the councils pretty much said no vehicles, no equipment, so I would doubt that most of the council chooses to get rid of their huge range.
Yeah. If you need to get rid of it, we can get rid of it. It's a want, not a need. I will switch gears to sewer then. Jeez, it gets cold in here. Holy buckets. So I think in sewer, your personal services would still have the 5% in there.
Did you print this based off of what I emailed yesterday? 'Cause I emailed out yesterday the changes. with all the 5% removed. I don't think that's correct. I want to say it went down to 71.
The axe cut.
The axe cut. Okay,
The AKA Jeremy Clay. He's now the axe.
So it's 70,258, 5,375, 4,216, 1,339. And then obviously you didn't change how many employees were in there, so that's still correct on the health insurance.
Did you pull that up on your phone? You want to do water quick, as long as you got it up?
Yeah. Water personal services, it'll be 210, 239, 1684, 12,615, 4954. Yeah. 70,258, 5,375, 4,216, 1,339. So I did look this up yesterday because it kind of threw me off when I was looking at 2023 total budget to 2024. When we did the 2023 budget, we had an employee in there that had been here for several years. And so that's the difference. Current employee that's in there is at starting wage, so that does make a difference in the budget. So yes, it did not go up from 23 to 24 based on current employment.
Sewer's just
One full-time.
one full-time and myself.
Yeah, 1/5 of you, yep.
And I am fully vested. I'll just run down the list then. Legals and advertisements, a lot of this stuff, her numbers aren't as current as mine, so we went off my numbers. And I've got everything that Mark and those guys put in up to date. So some of this stuff hasn't come through yet, but so we projected what was going to be spent, so that's just confusing me. Anyways, legals and advertisements, rentals, that $5,000 for rentals, we've taken that out of everybody's cut. The axe cut that, but everybody has gotten rid of that 5,000 for rentals. That's been not a popular thing. I thought it was a good idea.
So you're saying remove it?
Remove the rental. Managed IT is gonna be about what that is. HR testing, that's one employee in this department plus myself, but miscellaneous concrete, we spend that every year. Consultant, we actually upped a little bit, but we'll definitely use that next year. Supplies, 20,000 to date. What are you at? $18,901. That's gonna be a little thin. Memberships, he's got He's got memberships, that's the number for those. Uniforms, we order shops, shirts and coats every year, shop supplies. So shop supplies is still being split out, sanitation, water, sewer, and streets. So everybody shares on that at North Shop. Office supplies, tools, not a lot in there. What's your, am I looking at the right, oh, fuel. Travel and conferences, Ricky and Matt both have, Ricky's got quite a few tests left to take.
Yeah. he's
Matt's got one. Utilities, your state lab fees, that number might actually, now, did we figure all those right? But that's not gonna go down. So basically, gets us down to where we're, capital improvements. You got 50 for
Manhole rehab.
So we've been trying to pick out like, we've been trying to get five a year done, manholes. And it's been, the price is going up, but did we get 5 done this year or did we get 6?
We got 4 done this
4
year.
done?
They were deep.
We got the bill on that, it was like 30-some thousand. That just came through the other day, so,
27.
I mean, this is where, it's just like in the streets, this is where we have the ability to cut if you guys need them, you know, if we gotta make but it's also projects that we need to keep getting them done.
So my question, my immediate thought, we budgeted 50 last year. We did 4 this year, they're deeper. This was for 5 holes. Why don't we contract with them to get 10 done when that money's available? Or in this case, the 4 deep ones and 5 others.
What we did this year was, last year they couldn't make it here, so we just did everything the same as the year before,
Right.
with the manholes and with the relining.
So 27,000 for those 4. I'm not opposed to getting, do we know if there's another 5 that could have been done
Oh, yeah.
out of this budget and gotten, while they're here, more productivity out of them? I don't mind putting 50,000 in there if we're gonna spend it all. We can cut it, but I'm not, when it comes to the projects, I'll be honest, they're milling and grinding today. When it comes to your relining, manhole rehabs and stuff like that, I think that's stuff that has to be done on the infrastructure. My question is if we had 50 in there, why did we only spend 27?
So here's what happened, in the last, this is what we ran into in the last couple of years. I'm not gonna use the company's name because
Yeah.
we're live, but,
Right.
the company that we've been using in the past got bought out by another company. And they had a lot of personnel changes. We got lost in the mix-up the last couple of years, actually, the last 2 years. We reached out to 4 other companies that were given to us, names by DGR. They're all booked out like 2 years in advance right now. So, and we've put these projects out to bid, we don't get bids on them. We're only doing $150,000 worth of relining. Most of these companies are coming from quite a few states away. We're gonna spend, so what we did this year is we got back in touch with the company that we've been using. The other companies that we reached out to declined, or we had one respond.
One respond.
But the company that we went ahead with, which is the company that we'd been using, was cheaper. So we went with them again, And what they gave us was what they had time to get us scheduled in for. And we took what we could get.
Absolutely.
So the 4 manholes that got done, they actually started that job last year in December and then got snowed out. So they came back this year because they started that job. Otherwise, we probably wouldn't have got anything out of them this year for manholes. They were just booked up solid. So that's just been what we've been running into the last couple of years with all this money that's been given by the government and grant money. Every company out there you got to get on the list to get done. And our projects aren't big enough but that's not saying that if we would have, if they would have had time to do 10 manholes, we would have done, Mark would have, it's not that we don't
That
have the work
answers my
to do.
question. That
not-
answers my question,
Not that we don't have the work to do. We will take what they'll give us.
right?
But in the years previous, we've spent the 50 easy, we've spent the 120 easily.
Yep.
When we can get scheduled and get the work done. It's just the last 2 years has just been kind of crazy with just trying to get on the books for people.
That answers my question. They started in December, they came back and finished, or else we probably wouldn't have saw them, is what you're telling me, right?
Right. And that 50 for manhole rehab and the 150 for relining, I would really like to see you leave that in there because we have a situation up in town where we're not 100% sure if we're going to be able to reline a sewer. And if we can't reline it, we're gonna have to reroute it and put in new sewer, and we're gonna have to tie the homes in to do that. And it's not that it has to be done right now or it has to be done next year, but that's gonna be a project.
The sooner the better, is what you're saying.
Yeah, we're treating it for tree roots right now. It took us quite a while to get through it with our jetter, and it was due to be relined on this last project, and they couldn't get through to do it. They couldn't get the root balls cut out of it. They weren't able to get it relined for us. So we're treating the root balls. We're going to continue to jet it and try and get it as clean as we can. We're going to try and get our camera in there this fall and get a good look at it, and hopefully next year when they come back, they will be able to reline it. But we don't know that for sure because they did get their camera in there a ways, and what they saw was not good. So
Okay.
it's not a real good situation up there, but
And we've known that,
we're hoping for the best.
right?
The $25,000 for storm sewer upgrades, that we have not, last year we didn't spend a whole lot of, if you're looking for some money, that's a good place right there. That we can go a year without storm sewer upgrades. But you're taking that money out of utility.
You spent 21 last year,
That's on this.
21,250.
Oh, we bought those monster bugs. But we have another 25 in 2023.
We keep talking about that project over on Plum Street, and that's what this is kind of for.
Yep.
That section, I think.
Yep,
Are we gonna get to that this year?
yep,
So if we get to that this year.
unless it snows in October.
Which could.
It could.
The way things are going. Once
Yeah.
this starts, is this gonna be a continual project down that, each direction, 25,000 a year adding on? Is that where we're earmarking this for, is that canal?
It's gonna be really popular with the public. Once we do the one section of it, they're gonna wanna, we also have some culverts that, there's some tubes that run under, is that Pine?
Yeah,
Is it Pine Street?
yeah.
Oh, yeah,
There's 2 tubes that run under Pine Street, and they're getting pretty old. They're gonna be, the street's starting to settle right there. So I think those 2 tubes are starting to get weak.
is this something where we'll do a rehab or replacement like we did over off Plum Street into those apartments? Put in a different
Yeah, we'll
culvert
put in
and tear it out?
we'll probably be putting in a,
Probably a box.
box culvert.
Box culvert.
Another self-contained culvert again. which will be quite a bit more expensive than the tubes, but it just gives you so much, it's just better to work with for your street, the integrity of the culvert and everything. But, yeah, it's another thing that's on the list. We don't know how much longer they're gonna last. We've just noticed over the last couple of years that the street's starting to sag right there where those two culverts are. But then you go from there all the way, you trace that culvert, or that ditch, that canal, all the way back up to Highway 44. It's standing water in there all the time, and so it's always a concern for us for mosquitoes, and it'd be nice to get it cleaned up. We didn't have to have that situation.
So this 25 this year we will do something with it this year, is what you're saying,
Oh, yeah.
at
That's-
some point. So this is one of those projects that we want to probably, I'm just lobbying here, Councilman Clunt, I know you're listening, always, but I think if we see this get done, I think, is 25,000 enough? Once we get going, or when we get in there, is 25,000 gonna be a drop in the bucket and we barely get anything done that we wanted to get done on it?
Well, we already have the monster blocks purchased. So basically, from the new culvert out to the ditch behind McDonald's, we've pretty much got the supplies we need to do that project. So with this year's 25,000, last year's 25,000, we should have enough supplies to do that. We'll have enough supplies to do that section. The next 25,000
Is back to that.
would take you from that new culvert maybe to Pine Street. And it's definitely not enough to replace that culvert going under the streets. So that's what the 25,000 was for. That's why we asked for it two, 3 years ago, so that we could just keep working on that project.
We haven't paid for the concrete for that. There's gonna be quite a bit
Yeah,
for
that's,
the bottom of that. It's gonna be,
yeah, that'll come out of that 25,000 that we haven't spent any of yet this year.
Plus you have miscellaneous concrete. Was that what part of that was gonna be for?
Miscellaneous concrete we can use it for that, but for him, it's usually if somebody does like if we do a sewer cutout or something in town, we have to go in, or if we raise up manholes, or
Sure.
if we have 6th Street that's got quite a few sunken manholes, that's what that miscellaneous concrete's in there for, is to cut those out, raise
saw
them
they
back
were
up,
marked.
get them back up to level. Sometimes we have to cut out sewers to get, replace a chunk of curb and gutter or whatnot.
Okay. I'm sorry, I interrupted when you got to the 25, and I was
No,
curious.
I'm just saying,
I don't want to cut it,
like I
but
said,
I
it's-
want to see it used.
at the end of the day, if we have to make the budget balance, this is, capital improvements is like, just like in any of the, like in streets. If we have to come up with the money, then it's project money that you're gonna have to come up with. Everything else is pretty much spent. Pretty much everything else in Mark's budget is payment money. Sewer's making payments on a couple of different things. No equipment or anything.
Just a factor truck in there for 85.
Oh, I told,
You want that out?
yeah.
Yep.
What is happening with that?
with what?
The Vector, are we going to repair then what we have?
Yeah, we'll get it repaired this year.
What did that come in at?
We have to get it there.
Gotcha.
Are you still doing the new one? planning on?
We don't have no money, we don't have any money for it.
Okay.
So if you remove the 90,000, so 5,000 for rental, 85,000 for the Vector, it still leaves you 74,985 short of your revenues. When I did the cash, you've got the cash to support that, if you want to deficit spend in the sewer fund. If you have the cash to support it.
Did you come up with 91,308 that we cut today?
Nope, it came up with 90 even. Oh, well, I didn't include I went off my number from yesterday's sheet, sorry. So yeah, once you put,
91,308 today.
yeah.
So what's that leave from cash?
You will have $1 million cash.
No, what would that leave to?
You'll need 75,000.
When you projected water and sewer, did you go off of 2022 numbers? Or what we're trending at this
No.
year?
No, so we have to base it off of the budget. That's what the state requires us to do, is you have to base it off of budget numbers. So I look at to see how much cash each fund has, taking out the money that you can't touch. But in your guys' case, the outlay money all comes back in this year. So once we're done with budget, we will move all of the ARPA, all of the outlay money back in, because technically we have spent the ARPA money and a little bit of that cash. What's going to benefit you guys is that outlay money, you didn't need to use it.
But I'm talking, how did you?
The
how did you-
revenues that we projected, Troy, were based off this year's numbers. We
Okay.
didn't.
So
with the
those numbers
meters,
are going to go up.
They could,
They will.
okay. I don't know when our installation,
We're
Is-
hard into it right now, but.
okay,
So we're about 100 meters into it right now, a little over 100.
Yeah, 125,
And
150.
we're going after that list of meters that are dead. All we're charging is the
yeah.
minimum water usage.
And when we did those revenues, Chandra and I have to use what's actually coming in.
Yeah.
In fairness, that's in fairness to council to give them those numbers. Now, if the meters get replaced in these shoulder months, these 3 months coming up, and next year's revenues are above and beyond, you can't adjust. I mean, we would be looking at 2025's budget before that will adjust.
So it'd just be that surplus money will just go into cash on hand
Correct.
in that department.
So this year, we can deficit spend out of cash, take from the unappropriated cash, and it replenishes itself. But, yeah,
That's what I want council to hear. I want
Yes.
council to hear that we have, we know that we have like probably 350, getting close to 400 meters out there we're just charging those customers the bare minimum. And we're, October's when our big shipment of meters comes in. But we have about 300 meters on hand right now that we're going after those. So,
how many have come in now?
we had 250 and then another box of 27 came in.
So they have started upping?
Yeah.
Okay,
But they owe us the paperwork. The contract says October is when they have to give us our bulk
Okay.
shipment of radios.
okay.
And the light boys are they're like 650 meters into their side. And that's something else. On the electrical side, we're finding out some of these gateways are dead. As the water guys are going out, the gateways are dead. So that means that it's not reading anything. So this is kind of a critical time for us.
Yeah. Yeah, you talked about it yesterday. And this next year, that's gotta be the priority, finishing that, if not this fall. I understand. But you guys can't do anything if you don't receive those shipments. That's why I wanted us to pressure those guys to get that stuff here. That wasn't fair to us. They needed to at least produce something. Okay. That answers your question. No, these revenue numbers, obviously sewer, there's no billing, it's based off water.
Yep.
And that's the way Chandra and I had to budget these revenues. It's quite possible that you will have a huge surplus going to unappropriated cash at the end of 2024.
Probably not in sewer, just because sewer does do summer averaging, so you don't get a lot of extra in the summer on sewer, but
Yeah.
just FYI.
There will be a surplus, though.
Yeah. Hopefully.
We still have to go through water. We don't have to unless you want to skip it.
I don't care, tell me to throw it out.
Knock yourself out. We adjusted the personal services and it 4,000 some odd dollars, well, a little more than that when you go down the line. Well maintenance, we overspent, I believe, this year. But that 35 is probably gonna, we're due to do another 2, right?
2 wells.
2 wells this upcoming year. We don't need to adjust that number, but it probably will need to be adjusted for 2024 or 2025. Mapping, have we gotten any, we haven't really gotten anywhere with mapping, have we?
Nope.
Actually, DGR is doing that for us now, so. Miscellaneous concrete, that gets, if we're going to do a water project, that's gotta stay, because that's our money that we put the people's driveways and everything back in with. Consulting. We're gonna have some consulting expenses coming in here. We've been doing a lot of, Jake's been working on a lot of easements and things for us. I haven't really seen too many bills yet.
So, when you said they're doing the mapping, were you cutting that, or is that something you wanna leave in there?
The 1,200? Yeah, we can cut that out. DGR's doing that for us now.
But they're charging for it.
What's
They're
that?
They're
consulting
charging for it,
clients.
yeah.
No, he's not charging me.
Isn't it?
Not yet anyways. They have the files, they're just dropping it into the program for us.
You have your annual memberships at 19,878. Is that where you put court, like census annual?
That's
Okay,
the,
so that's actually a, computer software, so that actually goes down at 4341. And the 2024 one is 16,000, so you just need, so it's actually technically in there twice. So we just need to remove the 16 out of the 19, is that correct?
yeah.
Where are you at?
He does still have,
Census is
Memberships, he's got-
4341.0001.
Gotcha.
you've got, your rural water membership and where do you got your queues coming out of? Sewer?
That's out of sewer.
Yeah, we can't totally cut the memberships line totally.
No,
But you can take the 19,800 out from for a census,
the 16 for census.
if you're taking it out down there on computer software. I'm not showing anything for computer software, so,
It's 4341.0001.
I see that, but it's not on my sheet.
It's on the one you gave me.
Mine says $75.
Next one down, that's computer software, .01 is the 16,000. We haven't spent it yet this year.
16,000? That's the one?
We're removing 16,000 out of annual memberships.
And moving it to,
So technically census is in there twice. You only need it in there once, so
See,
you're just
this-
removing it out of annual membership.
neither one of these show it as being there
Huh?
for computer software.
It's .001. So it's the next line under computer software.
Okay,
It says census.
all right.
Census with a C.
Yep,
Oh. I don't know how to spell it, sorry.
S.
Okay.
What do you have planned for tools? It says you've only spent $900. You got 6,000 budgeted this year and another 6,000 next year.
it's, basically whatever.
Kelly
comes up.
Duffy.
Run through a lot of saws and impacts, and you don't know what's gonna happen.
So if you look at the other sheet, Austin, I looked at that too, but the one that Chandra just brought in, there is fiscal activity this year for 4646. That it's not reflecting on that other sheet. I've been bouncing back and forth with you.
That's the tough part with these, with Public Works. If you just go off of where they are middle of the year, that's really hard because they haven't really started a lot of their projects until after middle of the year. So
So does this ever update?
as soon as I close out today, it will update to July 31st, not through August though.
Okay. There's no way to put this into in Excel and then just take the temporary copy and paste.
Yeah, I can. The problem is I haven't gone through and reviewed anything until I close out, so sometimes there's things that were coded incorrectly that I need to review, so before budget retreat, I will review to date and have that in there for everyone.
So that's what I've been doing, Austin, is bouncing back and forth between these two, so. I saw and understood your question completely, but I think Mark had the right answer with his saws and everything, and I saw that fiscal activity over on the other side.
Oh. Where are we at?
We were just looking at tools,
Oh,
and we were discussing, it showed 90531 on the sheet you had, but when you look at the new updated sheet Shander brought in, there's fiscal activity of 4646.53. And Austin was asking what's being spent out of there, and Mark was saying saws and other stuff that's coming through. Just to kind of keep you looking both sides. So from there, fuel and gas. Is there a breakdown, Troy? Does your software give you a breakdown of how much diesel versus the unleaded was used by each department, or is it just total gallons? Okay.
so the water department, he doesn't have any, he doesn't have any diesel equipment in the water.
It's all,
Oh, wait, you got a
Yeah,
backhoe.
we got two backhoes.
Yeah,
we
two
got
backhoes.
yeah.
Packed.
Well, I always fill them up with street, so
No wonder they're sputtering. We're putting unleaded in a diesel.
fill them up once a year, they're good to go.
But I was just wondering the breakdown on the gallons, how you get to your fuel price with such a precise number. And I've looked at the other departments also, not just talking about this number. If the breakdown was there of how many gallons used for unleaded versus diesel by department. We know we're gonna go 375 across the board on fuel for unleaded. And diesel was, what, 450?
Remember for sure what diesel? I'd have to go back and find that email. So, water, last year, unleaded, used 673.482. And diesel, for not having any diesel, used the same amount of diesel, 668.71 gallons.
That's more than once a year, Troy.
Those big tanks.
Those are big tanks. So 375, and I wanted to say,
I don't know that it's 4.
I thought it was, yeah,
Could be.
450. I thought we went higher, but. That was just a question, an observation. I'm not, when you look at the fuel numbers, we're pounding through them. Which we're going to.
So
That number.
utilities is just based off what he's historically spent. State lab fees is what he historically spends. Capital improvements, we $50,000 that we have that in there, we have it in this year's budget. And you're asking for it again in, next year. I believe it's in this year's budget.
That would have been for what you just did on Adams Street. Have we just not seen any bills for that yet?
Well, Adams Street, we got the pipe for that new elevate out there for that line.
There's only activity of 6935. Will there be more bills coming in on those two?
I got a lot
projects?
more on my computer.
Okay. How much more? Is it gonna spend the full 50 on those two?
This year?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
So normally what we do is like when we do a couple of blocks like that, we'll have enough on hand to use out of our own supplies. And then we'll order back in and order back up. If it's got a capital improvement code on it, it goes to that capital improvement so we can keep track of that spending, but it doesn't always, it's not always like just a big one-time order, like we're gonna order everything from Adams Street. We'll use what we have in stock and then we'll reorder back in. So some of those bills are still coming in. I mean, it's pretty close to having it all paid for.
Understand.
Just,
The highway project will be done, hopefully.
meter equipment line, is that for like the commercial meters and stuff we talked about, or what's that?
That's for, we never really did, we never got into, any commercial accounts when we did the first go-round. So we've got that in there to, replace meters for those commercial accounts.
Okay. So that is actually just, most of that is going to be just encumbered from 2023. It didn't get used.
Oh, no, they bought some meters this year because all our contract with Census was just the radios, and we had some dead meters too. So they did buy some actual meters for residential this year too.
We bought $80,000 worth of meters.
So there's some issues on the census side of things with their billing because we paid for everything up front. And we haven't received all the radios. They started putting these meters that we ordered towards that credit that was on there, which we didn't want because that credit was for the radios that we're supposed to be getting. So there's some issues with billing, but we do know that there is that 70,000 or whatever it is will be spent this year as soon as that all gets straightened out.
Census was the radios and the software, the computer system to keep track of it, to do the reads. But when we went and did the meters the first go round, they were hooked up to the old system, and that's what was depleting the meter heads. We had to replace those meter heads, and we did not ask for that money to do that when we bought the census system. So we're having to replace radios. We have a bunch of heads on store. We bought $80,000 worth of heads like a year ago. But that $70,000 we have not touched the commercial side really to date. So we have to buy replacement meters for those, and most of those are 1 inch or larger. Some of them are, we just bought one for Golden Prairie. That was like, what, $3,000?
By the time you got everything, it was about 3,000. Just for the 1 meter,
Back at like a
3 inch.
2.5 or
3 inch.
At the laundromat.
It was a 3-inch meter, yeah.
Hopefully it's a 2 inch.
It might be. It's a
Bigger
big
than
son of a
that,
gun.
then,
Big.
We paid for some plumbing too.
yeah.
That one has copper line coming up through the floor of the concrete around.
I think it's a 2 inch curb stop.
I'm just looking at meter equipment activity for this year.
Yeah, just.
We're waiting still on the bill.
Yeah, there's a huge discrepancy on the census side that I've been working with Charles on. He started putting the meters that they ordered towards the credit from 2 years ago.
So I really would like to have that 70,000.
Yeah,
in
that's
there.
fine.
I don't even know if that's gonna cover it.
I bet it won't, but I just,
Once
I'm
we-
just curious what it was.
Yeah, once we start replacing commercial meters, some of the, I mean, we've got a majority of them, like the school and the hospital. Some of the bigger ones are done, but,
Yeah, we probably got, I don't know, maybe 22 inch meters that we gotta get yet. You know, those are almost 2,000 a piece.
moving down the line, you got $50,000 in there for a pickup.
He just looks right at Austin.
I'm just gonna stop there, cause I know they're gonna ask. So, what's the deal with the pickup?
It's our tool pickup. We thought we could pick something up on federal surplus. We're not looking for new. We're just looking for something. This one, the only time it goes out of the shop is we can't trust it anymore. It's just for,
It's a Ford.
yeah, brakes. It's got all of our stuff in it. You know, you said that federal surplus, you seen a Dodge in there, kind of like what Kelly has, and Kurt was like 32. And fairly low mileage on it. But we thought we'd pick something up like that.
So in this year's budget, you have pickup in there
We,
under 4340.001.
we had 15,000. in it.
Yes, sir.
And we did go to federal surplus, and we bought that little Ford Ranger for 4,000.
Yep,
So we have 11,000 in there yet.
okay.
But, you know, maybe, I don't know if you guys let us use that for the Ranger this year.
I was
don't
just
know.
gonna say.
Could we do
We'll have
that?
10,000 next year for a used Ranger. Why don't we buy a used Ranger under the water department this year?
If we could.
Well, it's actually,
Well, I think
to
he's
be
gonna,
honest with you, we don't have any say.
It's appropriated.
It's appropriate.
But it's a great idea
But
if we're gonna pull that from next year, if there's gonna be, at the end of the year, 10,000 in there, He's right, you probably should.
Yeah, there's $11,000 unspent. I think we should cut it out of the sewer
Yeah.
Public Works.
or public works.
Yep.
Yeah.
I would say, my suggestion would be to take that $11,000 and then if he's got some money, which he's going to have some money left in water this year, and just buy the pickup. Go ahead and purchase a pickup before the end of this year and cut out the 50 for next year.
And you said there was a Dodge that you saw?
I saw 2 Dodges down in
Box Elder?
New Underwood, Box Elder, but they're both short boxes. He needs a long box. But we could purchase one of those and then put his box on Kelly's pickup and make that work. Then that would give Kelly, that would give Kelly a short box pickup. I'd prefer that we had 2 long boxes because when Kelly's using his, he's throwing stuff in it. It's nice. Those long box pickups are a lot nicer than short boxes.
Just watch federal surplus, see what they have.
Yeah. But we can still make that happen this year with that.
I would say if there's gonna be money left over, it only makes sense to use it this year. I don't have final numbers specific enough to know if there's money left, but if there is, that's what I would suggest, is to buy the pickup out of this year, remove the Gator out of Public Works, and spend that leftover, that 11,000 on that.
So you want to scratch the 50?
Yeah.
And the 10?
Yeah.
That's about it for water. Well, I feel really good about this. Austin's not near, like,
Jeremy's rude about it. when he
Jeremy's the
starts.
axe. Austin's kind of the velvet hammer, or something like that. Skylar would have been here, maybe he would have beat us up a little more, but
Skylar,
That's the number you come up with their budgeting.
at the end of the day, if we get to the end of the retreat and we need money, you know where it's gonna come from anyway, so.
This is when we need to do it.
will be reaching.
What number did we use?
For
Because there's,
I just did 450 and 375, which this last week it was over 375.
I think in the future, we should just have 2 retreats,
Actually, I
Have a
went back
retreat
and look at
in-
my email on the average.
August, and then have another retreat in September.
That's an easy way to cut.
And just go through this process with all the council.
I only did.
Right.
I don't know. I can get that information.
If you have that information.
I think it was roughly 131 today.
What's that?
131 today,
What is?
total cut.
Oh,
I think it'll be more than that.
Maybe.
Because I think